Welcome to Brattleboro Community Television's Producer Awards Night. This is the first time we've come together since last October, when we were at 118 Elliott. I think you'll agree this is a year that has been like no other. BCTV typically gives awards recognizing work over our fiscal year from July to June, which is how we report as a nonprofit. So from July to March was 1 year, and from March to now, feels like 5 years. So we are recognizing work from as far back as July 2019 all the way to the present. Hey, we make the rules, and we can break them. My name is Chris Lenoir. I'm the board president. I want to take a moment to recognize my fellow board members who help guide the organization and are ultimately responsible for its work. They are George Anthus, Lynn Barrett, Alex Beck, Marty Cohn, Bob Gammon, Leah Goodman, and Garrett Harkowick. Now we can get started recognizing our awardees. One of the benefits of a virtual event is that I don't have to tell you to mute your cell phone or where the bathrooms are. Hopefully you know where those are in your own home. So sit back and relax, or better yet, join us on the live chat. Our executive director, Core Trowbridge, likes to tell me every year at our Producer Awards night that every single one of BCTV's volunteer producers who created or submitted even one local program deserves our applause and congratulations. This ceremony is to recognize a handful of producers who this year went above and beyond in making BCTV the best community television station in the state. Can we actually say that? The best community television station? In helping BCTV to be the best community resource possible for the 8 towns in southern Windham County that we serve. Our first award is Community Partner of the Year, and that award goes to Next Stage Arts. This is an organization that uses BCTV's tools and services to benefit the community and the organization. Next Stage Arts Project, located in Putney, partnered with BCTV to create and share a variety of excellent local content, including Fables storytelling, the quarantine sessions, Cooped Up Kids, Votes for All Women, and Rigged, a voter suppression panel. In August, Keith Marks of Next Stage organized a live multi-venue arts performance, Arts Unite Windham, to raise funds for local social justice organizations and to bring attention to arts venues which had been shut down for months. BCTV provided the technical backbone of this 4-hour live stream from 5 venues that ultimately raised $8,000. Accepting for Next Stage is Keith Marks, Executive Director.
Thanks, Chris. Working with BCTV has been truly a gift. I moved here in January to this area up to New England, and I will tell you that a lot of communities don't have what this area has in BCTV. It's a local community multimedia partner. As we progressed through COVID, I developed a relationship with Core and Brian and the rest of the BCTV staff. And when I was looking at creating content virtually, I priced cameras. I realized I didn't know how to use them. There was going to be a steep learning curve. I didn't think we were going to be able to execute at the level that I really thought that I would like to see us execute at. And so when I reached out to Core and Brian and the whole BCTV team, they seemed very willing and able. They were reasonable to work with financially. They were incredibly helpful to work with. And so we started creating content like Arts Unite Windham, like what else did we do? We did the 19th Amendment with Dr. Meg Mott. We did the voter suppression and voting rights program. And the relationship strengthened and the trust grew. And I will tell you that, BCTV is a nonprofit local programming station, but really it's a team of professionals. Thank you very much for this Community Partner Award. I look forward to working with BCTV in the future. This is a real gem of an organization that is in Windham County, and I would really encourage the entire community to look to BCTV for problem solving, production help, and amplifying the message. So thank you again, BCTV.
Our Our next award is the Nonprofit Member of the Year. This award recognizes a nonprofit member that uses BCTV to achieve the organization's mission. This year's award goes to Senior Solutions of Southeastern Vermont. Joanne Ehrenhaus, as Community Relations Director, joined on behalf of Senior Solutions in 2018 because she wanted to reach area residents with information about programs that Vermonters over 60 are eligible for. She got started by hosting a few open studio episodes, and that evolved into the monthly show Keeping Up with Senior Solutions. She and her co-host Jim Collins just completed their 12th episode, each with a different guest expert.
Hi, the reason I am working with BCTV and happy to present our organization through the public television outlet is because, so many people in the community need information, and they can only get it so many ways. They get it through the newspaper, they get it word of mouth, maybe when they go to the town office, through their friends. But the television is such a clear disseminator of information. They can both see what's happening and listen to the information. And for me, as the Community Relations Director for Senior Solutions, I feel that, first of all, I have a good friend who runs a television station, so I know the importance of it and how it can get into your home and literally become, particularly for the older Vermonters whom we serve, it can really become their best friend. And, with that in mind, I think that BCTV is so accessible, and you can watch it live, you could watch it streaming. You could watch it through YouTube. You can also watch it through Senior Solutions website because they let us reproduce it. It's just an amazing way to contact and stay connected with the community. I would invite everybody to tune in as often as they can and catch our show, which is Keeping Up with Senior Solutions.
Now we come to our Municipal Partner of the Year award. This award goes to a board or committee that uses BCTV to promote governmental transparency and public engagement. And this year, we give the award to 2 departments in the town of Brattleboro that were active in using BCTV to reach the public during the COVID-19 public health emergency. In the town manager's office, Patrick Moreland was charged with finding a way for the select board to meet virtually when in-person meetings were prohibited. He quickly learned video conferencing technology and made the virtual format work efficiently and effectively for select board members, ASL interpreters, BCTV, and the public. In September, along with town moderator Lauren Crisp and town clerk Hillary Francis, Patrick engineered the first virtual town meeting in Vermont, which was held on Zoom for 13 hours with over 100 participants. It went smoothly and is being hailed as a model for the state.
Thank you. I do appreciate that, but I appreciate it really on behalf of a lot of different folks here at Town of Brattleboro. There has been a lot going on behind the scenes, but it's a coordinated team effort, and it's been kind of rewarding to be a part of that. Like most people, prior to 2020, I had never really used a virtual meeting platform. And so I had no experience with it. Didn't know a go-to-meeting from a Zoom, didn't know how to use these things, didn't know what settings were possible. And none of us really did. So it was definitely a trial by fire that we had to get right, and we had to get right quickly. For representative town meeting, it was really, can it be done? And we found that if you conduct an orderly meeting, and if somebody on our team is taking the time to follow the direction of either the chair or the moderator, that this is the person I'd like to call on next. And as long as you keep the remaining, the other mics closed and cameras off, you can see the ASL interpreter. and the meeting can be conducted in an orderly fashion in a way that's totally different from the early virtual meetings that I think we can all remember, where 35 people are talking at once, and can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because if we couldn't get past that, this wasn't going to work. There was good turnout. It was an orderly meeting. Our moderator, Lauren Crisp, did a fabulous job and hung in there for the whole day. We had a considerable number of folks well into the evening, and it was really a demonstration of democracy. Thank you, and thank you to everybody at BCTV. You guys do a tremendous public service. Thank you.
Mike Bukasi of the Brattleboro Fire Department and his staff met with BCTV in January to establish an emergency ticker portal on BCTV's channels so the department could quickly reach community members with alerts and announcements. 2 months later, the first ticker was initiated with the governor's Stay Safe, Stay Home order on March 24th. Since then, the department has used the ticker to update local residents with news alerts for COVID-19 and others. This is an important use of BCTV as an emergency messaging system.
So back in January, when this offer was made to the fire department to be able to use what we've dubbed as the ticker, it was a way that truly answered some of our needs that we were missing to get emergency information out to the community. It was made available in it's a simple process to use. And so as COVID came along, we wanted a very quick way to have the opportunity to get much needed information out to the community. And this means was perfect for what we were looking for. Not only did it supplement the normal means that we use, such as social media, press releases, things like that, but it was a very instantaneous way to get very important notices in almost immediate fashion to anybody that was watching BCTV. So the opportunity is very much appreciated. We've used it not only for COVID, but we've used it for storm warnings, and general information to the community on some street closures and things like that. So it's worked very well for our needs.
The new Producer Award goes to a producer who recently became active at BCTV. Her name is Donna Blackney. Donna moved to Brattleboro in May 2020 with a professional film background and joined BCTV via Zoom while the office and studio were closed. Her first project was to interview downtown store owners about their reopening plans. She became active with the Brattleboro Words Project and covered 2 important events: reclaiming the Abenaki place name Wintastagok at the Retreat Farm, and the unveiling of a plaque commemorating Nobel Peace Prize recipient Jody Williams at Green Street School. We are thrilled to have a videographer of Donna's talent creating local programming and documenting important events in Brattleboro's history.
Thank you so much for this. I'm just completely surprised, delighted, grateful. For me, it's been a real solid chance to connect with people in my new local community. You know, I was in the midst of moving here already, and then when all the COVID restrictions came in, you know, I was as stuck in my new home as everyone else was. So I just started really looking more closely at what things are happening and how I might look for meaningful things to do, paid or unpaid. And and so I wrote to CORE and offered, to get involved, and also joined because I was just amazed at the facilities and the equipment that producers can use to make these community programming. That was just something really new to me as well. I've never been involved in this kind of level of public access in the US. One of the things I've really enjoyed about making these is that, unlike social media and unlike broadcast television that I'm used to, BCTV was open to something being the length it needed to be, a story being the duration it needed to be for, and not just sound bites, and not trying to cram a bigger story into a tiny nutshell. And I really appreciate having that freedom to tell a story in full and have people, hopefully engaged with it to play it till the very end. We don't know, but we'll, that's what it's there for. And, my goals are really the same with videos. I just love human-focused stories. I like stories that are positive and encouraging, and we can certainly do with more of that in these times when we might be prone to, give in to the gloom. Finally, I just want to say thank you for the opportunities I've had, and then to have this award, which is very unexpected. I'm very grateful for it and really kind of humbled as well. I'm sure there's lots of people who've been making stuff for the channel this year, and I salute all of their fine work, and I look forward to meeting them in the future, hopefully when we can actually meet without masks on at some point. So thank you very much, and also thank you to Lissa Weinman at Brattleboro Words Trail, who's given me a lot of support to pursue writing and narrating, which are new areas for me. Thanks.
Our next award is Producer of the Year. This award recognizes a community producer for outstanding production work and commitment to BCTV. This year, the award goes to Peter Case, better known as Fish to his radio listeners. Fish created an online interview show, Call to Action COVID-19, in response to the COVID emergency. He gathered critical information from local, state, and national experts and disseminated it via YouTube, BCTV, podcast, and radio. The show went live on March 19th with the headline, "Will Our Food Supply Hold Up?" and was produced daily, sometimes twice daily, for a total of 50 episodes, ending with Congressman Peter Welch on August 25th. Fish quickly moved on to produce 8 episodes of Wyndham Votes, interviewing local town clerks about the security and accessibility of the voting process in their town. Fish's dedication to finding factual information, in his words, answers to his own questions, and sharing it with his neighbors through BCTV exemplifies the role of the community producer.
Call to Action was just something that we had started years and years and years ago on a radio platform. And as we advanced into what were the beginning of very scary times, I thought it would be a great time to kind of, just to pull it out of the mothballs and partner with BCTV, who's just a great community partner to begin with, as far as getting out this information. And there were a lot of questions at the beginning of the pandemic that needed to be answered. And I felt as though I had a platform in which I could do that, both by using my own personal podcast, The Year Spoon, and also using the radio group that I currently am employed with, Great Eastern Radio, and their 13 radio stations, and as well as being able to upload all this stuff to BCTV. And we got a lot of information out. The supply chain, I think, was the first one that we did with the Vermont Grocers Association. If you remember back, everybody hoarding toilet paper, which nobody through the entire pandemic ever was able to answer that question as to why that happened. But they were things that were concerning us all, answers that I wanted. And if I want the answers, I assume that everybody wants the answers. It's a complete humbling experience when you find out information and how other nonprofits were impacted, and doing one of the more heart-wrenching moments through the whole call to action was with the Women's Center and figuring out that their downturn in calls was actually not a good thing. It was more a terrifying thing. And it literally brought me to tears to find that out. So that was one of my more important interviews that I felt that I could get out there and push out. One of the comforting interviews that I did was with Kat McGraw, the doctor from Brattleboro Memorial Hospital. Was heartwarming to talk to her because we were all expecting hospital beds to be overwhelmed and people just lined up out in these makeshift tents out in the parking lot. And she basically said, nope, not here. We've been preparing for this for months. You have nothing to worry about, with such conviction that it literally, as a resident of Brattleboro, made me easy. It made me calm down a little bit, knowing that our very little rural Vermont hospital just had it so locked down that they were calm about it. And that was very comforting for me. For BCTV to kind of bestow this onto me, this award, the producer of the year, is, I got to say, it came out of left field. Gino Bartali, who was a cyclist, a World War II era cyclist, won the Tour de France a couple of times. He is one of my favorite sayings of all times is good is something you do, not something you talk about. Some medals are pinned to your soul, not to your jacket, was something he had said. And I feel as though I like to operate in that vein, out of that pocket. He was a man who smuggled papers to get Jews out of the country to safe harbor, and never talked about it until like close to the end of his life. So I do things because they're the right thing to do. And I always hope that I'm doing the right thing. So to have this honor is it's just great. And I can't thank BCTV enough for all their support. My radio group, Great Eastern Radio, and the folks at Brattleboro who, I don't know, I guess believed in me in such a way that they kept coming back to view and see what I had to say. So thank you.
The Series of the Year award is given to the producer of an outstanding series on BCTV. And this year, the award goes to producer and host Olga Peters for her series Montpelier Happy Hour, along with regular contributor, State Representative Emily Kornheiser. Montpelier Happy Hour originated in February 2019 as a podcast and WVEW radio show. In March 2020, Olga and Emily took the show to video on BCTV and YouTube. Their first video episode, COVID-19 and the Cracks in the System, articulated one of the show's main themes, the gap between policy and individual experience. Olga and Emily approach topics from both the personal and professional perspectives, which gives their weekly discussion its unique richness.
We started as a podcast in February 2019, and then in March of 2020, we started broadcasting our recordings as we recorded them for the radio show on WVEW to Emily's YouTube channel. And correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but I think part of our decision with that was specifically COVID-19 and the need the community had at the time to grasp information and to get good information, because there was so much information flying around at the time. And we wanted one more way to access people. People access media in different ways. And so we wanted people to have more opportunities to see what we were doing. And we also went to Emily's Facebook page as well. We would live broadcast to that.
Been talking and planning about taping our broadcasts for a while. And I sort of brought an iPad to the radio station and was going to do some fancy stuff that I really don't know how to do. And that got way too complicated and we just never bothered. And so once we were separate and together and using the video as a way to really just see each other while we were recording the radio, all of a sudden we realized the richness that was available there in each other's faces that we hadn't had before. So when we started the radio show, I think our major goal was to really tell the story behind the legislation. And so some of that is the emotional experience and the personal experience for sort of journalist and legislator. And some of that is really unpacking the myths that lead to a piece of legislation, or shape a piece of legislation, and bringing both the journalist and the policy perspective to that conversation, I think, is incredibly rich. And so I really appreciate the joyful dance that we do with each other when we're doing this work.
Oh, and this is why I love doing this show with Emily, because did you just hear how beautifully she put all that together? And thank you. I love our joyful dance too. And I love what you said about unpacking the myths and the stories, because so often I find as a journalist, and I think you have found as a lawmaker, Emily, how often we as human beings think we have this cool, calm, collected view of the world. And it's not. It's based on so many other myths and stories and experiences and emotions and beliefs that sometimes I'm amazed we get done as much as we get done.
I also just the play of performance in such a different way. And, running into listeners and how different the community radio listeners might be to people, my mother who subscribes to my YouTube station, or the folks who only in the grocery store do people talk to me about BCTV. I don't know what it is, but the grocery store is where BCTV conversations happen. And the sidewalk is where radio show conversations happen. You don't understand what the story is, but that is, so I love having the same message go through all these different channels, because the feedback comes in such different ways from those different channels.
Yeah. One of my favorite, you talked about the grocery store. One of my favorite grocery store moments is I was, doing the grocery shopping, and I hear someone call out from across the store, "Hey, you're the radio girl. I see you on TV." And I just thought, boy, we are so blessed in this area to have so much public media.
Now we come to Host of the Year. This is a new award recognizing the critical role of the host in TV production. The first award goes to one of our own board members, Marty Cohn. In 2014, Marty joined BCTV as the host and producer of Safe Store Matters, a show about the decommissioning of Vermont Yankee. In 2015, he hosted and produced Healthcare Matters for Grace Cottage Hospital, and in 2017, he started Rotary Cares. He volunteered as a host for BCTV's Open Studio and Meet the Candidates series in 2018, and kept producing his Rotary show. When BCTV had to close the studio facilities in March 2020, Marty not only learned to use Zoom to continue producing Rotary Cares, he added 2 new weekly shows, the Rotary Club Speaker Series and PR Benefits, a show about public relations in the COVID-19 era. In addition, Marty single-handedly coordinated and hosted BCTV's Meet the Candidates interviews leading up to the 2020 elections. This resulted in 20 interviews over a 6-week period that were aired statewide.
I just want to thank you so much for being named the Host of the Year. This is just fantastic. I have to tell you that BCTV is something that is really dear to my heart. I have been doing public relations for over 45 years, and community access television has always been a vital part of my repertoire in terms of my clients. Community access television is an important way for us to be able to tell our story. Why? Not only for the people who see the show when it airs, but also the production is on YouTube, and it's a way for us to really reach parts of the world we would never be able to reach otherwise. Then along came COVID-19. First, I took the show that I was doing, Rotary Cares, and I was able to continue to host that show, but sitting in my home in Newfane, Vermont. And by using the record of Zoom, sending it into Brian Brashaw, another asset for BCTV, we were able to put out the show. I wanted to come up with a show where I could really utilize the technology. And the show that I came up with was PR Benefits. It's a show where I got to contact people that I knew all over the country and ask these PR professionals what they were doing for COVID. And I was able to call people in Puerto Rico, in Alaska, in Hawaii. Well, lo and behold, it became a weekly show, and I've 29 episodes are on BCTV. But the other thing that I got out of this was being able to take the Zoom content and utilize the audio portion. So not only do I have a show, I have a podcast. So Rotary Cares is a podcast. PR Benefits is a podcast. And I'm getting about 300 to 400 listeners every week. Incredible. BCTV and community access television is definitely something that is vital to our community. Being host of the year, and I actually sat down and I figured out, all the episodes that I've done, and it works out to over 50 episodes in the course of this year. And it's really been a lot of fun because as a host, what I get to do is I get to research my guests. I'm not stalking them, I'm Googling them. And I prepare questions that I think will be interesting for the viewers to do. And I have to say that it's been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. And now I can say, thank you, BCTV, for making me host of the year, the inaugural award. Thanks again to everyone who voted for me and for all the support that I've received from BCTV.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cora Trowbridge. I'm the Executive Director here at BCTV. Thank you so much for being here to help us celebrate the Outstanding Producers of the Year. As I said at our annual meeting, this was really going to be a big year for BCTV no matter what. In terms of fiscal years, looking back, we got channel numbers that were not 8 and 10, new channel numbers. Southern Vermont Cable was purchased by Comcast, which means now all of our service territory is served by the same cable provider. We had more views than ever on some of our live streams like the Harris Hill Ski Jump. And we had our first fundraising effort in 2019 that was successful, and it's just the kind of thing we're going to be doing now. When we had to shut down in March and shut down the studio and the edit room, I honestly did not know what BCTV was going to be able to offer from home. But it turns out that our producers turned out to be more than just resilient. They were inspired by the need for information, by the need for inspiration. With Brian's help, they figured out how to record Zoom videos and submit those as programs. People turned to BCTV to live stream formerly in-person events. So we started to create virtual versions of everything, just like the video you're watching right now. I give the staff a ton of credit for their adaptability, for their can-do attitude. Vlasta was out here managing curbside checkout of gear. Brian was offering tech support to literally anyone. Nolan was busily scheduling from home so that all of the information on the channel was up to date on a day-to-day basis, so that critical information that was being submitted got to cable viewers as quickly as possible. And I'm proud that the organization was able to fulfill such a vital role. Today, we are making a special request for end-of-year donations. This is the day of giving that we have established. And listed here, you'll see people who have given in 2020 already. Please join them at brattleboro.tv.org/donate. Thank you again for being here. Stay tuned to hear a few words from the rest of the staff, and also some news of awards that we recently received. which is almost as much fun as giving awards is getting them. See you soon.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Helena Leschuk. I took over as the operations manager at BCTV in mid-September. So welcome everyone. Thank you again, and congratulations to our winners of the 2020 Producer Awards. Really just a surprising year. Very surprising to see what people are capable of, the new skills they're willing to learn and share, what resources they want to bring to the community's attention. Really just so much amazing work done by everyone involved. I also really want to give a shout out to all of our producers who work amazingly hard and really just expend a lot of creativity and energy doing what they do and bringing their shows and their views to the rest of the county, Windham County. Really, it's just been a fantastic year. It's been super fun to be a part of this. Really hope you enjoyed watching our show, and I hope it motivates people to continue making content, because I'm sure 2021 is going to be just another fantastic year, and I can't wait to see everyone and express that all together. So I look forward to next year. Thank you again for being with us.
Hi everyone, it's your content manager here. I want to congratulate all of our award winners, and I want to thank all of our volunteers, our members, our board, and our staff for all of their hard work and dedication this year. It's been a really tough year, but I think having such a great group of people to work with has really helped, and I'm grateful for all of you.
Howdy, I'm Brian Basha, the production manager at BCTV. I would just like to say thank you to all of our wonderful producers. And though we can only give awards to a few of you, there are many more that make BCTV the amazing station that it is. So here's a list of our MVPs, or our most valuable producers. Happy holidays, stay safe, and keep on creating.
Finally, we were thrilled to be recognized by the Alliance for Community Media Northeast Region for 5 of our entries into their Noreaster video contest. And these are for productions aired originally in 2019. Here are the awards we received.
Up next is event coverage multi-cameras. The B1 division winners are: 3rd place, Boston Marathon Coverage 2019, WACA production crew, WACA TV, Ashland, Massachusetts. 2nd place, AHS Football, Alvern versus Milford, Michael O'Keefe, James McIntosh, the HCTV football crew, Hudson Community Television, Hudson, New Hampshire. And the Noreaster goes to Harris Hill Ski Jump 2019, Brattleboro Community Television.
On the hill. Getting down past that 16-meter mark.
Our next category is PSA, or short program, in the Budget 1 division. 3rd place, Bedford Safety Moment, choking PSA, Captain Thatcher Plant, Colleen Richardson, and Malik Palakos, BCTV, Bedford, New Hampshire Community Television. 2nd place, What is Vaping? The Impact on Teenagers PSA, Brene Dubis, George Cox, Bedford, New Hampshire Community Television. And the Noreaster goes to Wheelchair Accessibility in Downtown Brattleboro, Ruben Shotland, Julie Tamler, Brattleboro Inclusion Center, Brattleboro Community Television.
I can get into box stores and supermarkets because they often have automatic doors and usually have wide aisles. Although sometimes the automatic door switches are difficult to find.
Our next category is Community Impact. The winners in the Budget 1 division. In 3rd place, The Mend, Anna Nassett, Anthony Italiano, Center for Crime Victim Services, Mad River Valley Television. 2nd place goes to Let the River Run Free, the Ipswich Dam Feasibility Study, Alexandra Dedarian and Caitlin Shaw, ICAM, Ipswich Community Access Media. And the Noreaster goes to, what is Umata YYA, the Center for Health and Learning, Brattleboro Community Television.
More than 10 schools participate in this You Matter program yearly. Youth Leadership Council members help design and lead the yearly events.
Next up is Profile Talk Show in the Budget 1 division, our third place winner. Here we are, Brattleboro's Community Talk Show.
So, Tom, All Things Considered was kind of one of your first gigs.
It was.
Yeah.
What a gig, too. Because in Alaska, especially at that time, there was no other broadcasting. It was when they opened the pipeline in '77 and started spraying money on everybody. Everybody got public radio station.
Our final category of awards tonight is under About Access and Community Media. In the Budget 1 division, the winners are, third place, Time for a Story Places, Studio W, Team Hercules, WPAA TV, Wallingford Public Access. Second place, What is PEG Television and the Difference It Makes, Yvonne Dunette's Access Nashua Team, Access Nashua Community Television. And the Noreaster goes to, Every Day is Community Media Day at BCTV, Brattleboro Community Television, Brian Bashaw, Brattleboro Community Television.
We know that so many of our constituents get information from BCTV. It's incredible how many people will stop me on the street and say, I saw that interview or I saw that select board meeting.
What I love about the public access televisions is people feel authorized to get on there and say their piece. They have access to a public forum where their words get disseminated, and it's so core to democracy for people to feel empowered to speak and to be heard. You provide that.
I want to thank all the awardees for their excellent contributions to BCTV and the community, and to the board members and other volunteers who give their time to the organization and to the staff who responded quickly to a new way of operating in the COVID crisis and created or facilitated more local programming than ever before. What you see on BCTV every day is a reflection of those of you who utilize the resources that we offer. Studio and editing facilities, staff support, training, equipment, channel time, all of these amplify your voice and views. In closing, I want to just add that Brattleboro Community Television needs your support more than ever before. We've added a new donate button on the homepage that's easy to find. If you didn't get a chance to donate on Giving Tuesday, check the chat for the link. Your donation goes to supporting BCTV's work in the coming year. We truly appreciate all your support and your continued watching of the Brattleboro Community Television stations. Thank you and good night.